For almost 3 months now, farmers from Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and other parts of the country have been at Delhi's Singhu and Tigri borders protesting against the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Act 2020. Since then, the protest has witnessed several complexities. Demonstrations even took a violent turn this Republic Day. At the heart of these protests are the new agricultural laws that were passed by the Government of India in September 2020. Protesters fear the changes will open them to exploitation by the corporate sector. In India's northeast, however, the agriculture sector remains oblivious of the protests in New Delhi, creating national headlines. For Haridhan Sarkar, a farmer at Limbutuli in Tripura's Shepahijala district, it is like any ordinary day. This year, though, he is happy. The produce was much better. Though far from commotion, Sarkar is aware and supportive of the ongoing protests.
আন্দোলন তো সঠিক আন্দোলন করতেছে ব্যাপার হয়েছে তারা তো এমনি আমি একজন ফাইলে তো হইতো না সারা ত্রিপুরাবাসী ফাই তুইব কৃষকের সুযোগ সুবিধা সবাই পাক আমি ওইটা চাই তো ওখানে আন্দোলন তো যেমনি চলছে ওখানে তো বোধহয় আন্দোলনটা রয়েছে তো এটা মোদী সরকার জানি মান্য নিবনি আমরা গরিব মানুষের কল্যাণের লাগি এটা ঠাউর জানি আমি কইতাম না।
At the same time, Sarkar is also pleased with the funds that he has received from the government.
না বাম সরকার যেই কাজটা করছেন এটা কিন্তু আবার মোদী সরকার করছে যেমন কৃষকরা ৬,০০০ টাকা করে যে বর্ষ দিতে আছে যেমন এটা আমি তোমার কাছে কইলাম না এটাও তো আমি পাইতাছি এটা অস্বীকার করা দিত না তো বাম সরকার কিন্তু এই কাজটা করছেন না তো কোন আবার কালকা টিভি দেখলাম কৃষকরা লাগি কিতা জানি কৃষি ঋণ দিব একটা এরকম কইছে বামফনামূলক কৃষি ঋণটা দিছেন কৃষি ঋণ আর কি এটা দিছেন এটা আমি করছিলাম দিয়ে লাইছি।
Over 500 kilometers from Shepahijala, B. Rashir in Meghalaya's East Jayanta Hills is trying hard to cover her expenses through her produce. Despite practicing multi-cropping, it is only during the summer that she makes some profit by selling pineapples. The rest of the year is a struggle since her market is much smaller.
To banyak percangkat jong mek jong tre jong kta biar mai lagi tang ba kermin ba suki la ban mek na mar jong tre jong ye dan da la theng o kaj ni don kam nan ban pen khuj am pen khuj da don kam ban sumar ban ngau siknyang ban penyap ban di ngau man lapor ong no nda la sei le ba kaj ba la da ye di ngau ji sa kut hniat nyar du kaj du bang sabasim po sab kawak te ye hach tiu la ban lar ar klah ni kpir di ngau nu kaj man la koj la jong lam sim lam bak hanying jong do jong bang re man la kaj he gini ta hapo chnong chin to et tu et ni don re ban ra chbaram chnong re ngi duna jong do.
Yodo Market in Shillong works as a reservoir for farmers from Meghalaya to sell their agricultural produce. Most farmers, however, depend on local markets managed by the village elders or local bodies, which are neither run by the farmers or the government. A similar structure of selling the agricultural produce is followed in most northeastern states. Dr. Indranil Bhaumik, Associate Professor at Tripura University, says that it is due to the smaller overall quantity of the agricultural output that the new farm laws are not being opposed in Tripura and other northeastern states.
Farmers in this region, and more so in Tripura, have very limited land. Obviously, with small farm size, their output is limited and most of their output is used for their household consumption. As a result, their marketable surplus is less and marketed surplus is even less. So, the market reforms which are being promulgated as well as being objected to in many parts of the country is not having a severe connotation in this region. First and foremost, the issues of marketing products for sustenance is not a major bread earner in Tripura. But more importantly, what we have is many of these landowning families in the rural areas also have secondary sources of income. Okay, that can be some kind of trade, that can be some kind of government assistance, that can be some kind of private services. As a result, since they are not solely dependent on agriculture, this issue of the prospective changes in the marketing pattern is really not affecting them much. Rather, they are not much bothered with it. And more so, yes, there have been issues of regulated markets in the state, but MSP has been a very recent phenomenon in Tripura. You know, this was introduced only in 2018. And so it's very early days to understand the impact and its efficacy also. So whether MSP stays, most of the farmers in Tripura are not familiar with MSP. So whether it stays or not is not a big deal to them right now.
Farmers in most agricultural states like Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, and Kerala, among several others, are protesting against 3 farm laws: the Farmers' Produce, Trade and Commerce, Promotion and Facilitation Act 2020, the Farmers' Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Act 2020, the Essential Commodities Amendment Act 2020. The farmers believe that these laws will only harm them, whereas the government maintains the farmers have been misled. Meanwhile, trading in the northeast remains unregulated, despite 3/4 of the region's population being dependent on agriculture and other primary production activities as their principal occupation. The absence of market regulations in primary and wholesale produce assembling markets often forces farmers to dispose of their produce at uneconomical and uncompetitive prices. Commander Shangpliang, president of the Hills Farmers Union, says that this leads to exploitation of farmers since they are not aware of the market prices.
When you go to the farm, then the farmer also he will not know what is the market price or this and that. So that's how. And the main exploitation activities that is going on, the illegal deduction in weight of our produce. See, for example, even the government also don't understand what is this deduction. I'll give you example. For ginger, let's say ginger. Let's say the weight of ginger is 100 kg. So 10 kg is deducted just for nothing. And when we ask why you have to deduct this, they said that this is a traditional rule, niyam. Ye to niyam hai, log bolta hai. So then when we in fact when we inquire in some other state, like last time we went to Azadpur Mandi in Delhi, there is no deduction.
Among the northeastern states, only Assam, Meghalaya, and Tripura have principal regulated markets. These are markets regulated under the Agricultural Produce Market Committee or the APMC Act. There are only 20 such markets in Assam, 2 in Meghalaya and 21 in Tripura. Shanta Singh Nahakpam, proprietor of Nahakpam Food and Beverages, an agricultural marketing company based in Manipur, says that the lack of any regulation opens avenues to exploit farmers and the traders to fill their pockets.
Like we have been doing small scale trading, number one. Number two, we never came under some regulation or law which would help us grow. For example, cinnamon or black rice. For example, today if we say that black rice will be given with MSP and no farmer will sell black rice below 20 rupees or 25 rupees, then automatically many more farmers will start growing black rice, and even in the case of other crops also. And another point is that we largely depend on imported crop rather than local grown crop. We have a very less local grown crop. For example, in the case of tomato or in the case of cabbage, even 90% of the crop it's coming from, like, we might be growing around 30%, but more than 50% of the crop is coming from outside. And individual trader, like non-registered unorganized trader who doesn't have anything, like apart from FSSI certificate in their shop, they are doing good business and farmers is getting nothing.
Paddy has been the dominant crop in Assam and accounts for more than 90% of the total food crop area. Yet, the rice-based agriculture system has failed to provide the required household income security to most farmers. In Assam, rice is grown across 3 seasons: Ahu rice in autumn, Sali rice in winter, and Boro rice in summer. Though winter rice accounts for more than 2/3 of the total rice area, the average yield is 1.53 tons per hectare. The minuscule cultivation is further clubbed with non-availability of rice mills and only a handful of paddy procurement centers, where a farmer has to follow a long process in order to avail the minimum support price for their paddy. Food Corporation of India is the only procurement agency here. A farmer has to first approach the Agricultural Development Officer or ADO, who will provide an authenticity certificate which will then be presented to the Paddy Procurement Center or PPC for the farmer to sell his paddy. The PPC then passes on the paddy to the Food Corporation of India, which makes payment to the farmer through the PPC. The entire process takes about 9 months for a farmer to receive the value for his paddy sold. Bonojit Hussain, an independent researcher, activist and farmer, says practical hurdles, unawareness and structural problems keep farmers from selling paddy at minimum support price rates.
I can tell you from my own experience that it is, even for me, I am highly educated, I can go to the district agriculture office, I can even pick up an argument with the district officer. Even for me, it is difficult to locate the ADO. Forget about getting certification, it's even difficult to locate the ADO. So think about a marginal farmer. For a marginal farmer to be able to reach or access the ADO and get a certification is like getting a certification from the king. And even if you manage to get the certification, and then even if you manage to sell your paddy to the paddy procurement center, the payment will be made, you don't know when. It can be 6 months, it can be 9 months, it can be 1 year. So a marginal farmer who doesn't have any working capital, who somehow manages to cultivate, cannot wait for 9 months to get his payment for paddy. So these are some of the practical hurdles. Other than that, there are some structural problems. If you ask any FCI officials why they procure a meager amount of paddy from Assam, whereas paddy is the single largest agricultural produce of Assam, the reason they will give you is that the prescribed moisture content is 17%. For FCI to procure your paddy has to have a moisture content of 17% or less. But Assam's paddy generally contains around 23 to 24% of moisture. So FCI gives the reasoning that because the moisture content is higher, we cannot procure this paddy. But it doesn't require rocket science to tackle that problem. Paddy dryer machines are easily available. Why can't the government, why can't the agriculture department also install paddy dryers in each and every paddy procurement centers?
He also said that despite the Assam Agricultural Produce Market Act 1972, the laws were never made functional in the state.
In the context of the Northeast and specifically in the context of the Assam, if we see, Assam too has had an act, APMC Act, since 1972, because the MSP regime operates through the APMC, Agricultural Produce Marketing Committees. So we have that act in Assam since 1972, but in reality it has never been made functional. On paper we have around 20 regional market committees in Assam, around 24 principal market yards in Assam, around 208 sub-market yards in Assam, but these are all, they all exist on papers. So to say it in other words, farmers of Assam have actually never heard of MSP, what is minimum support price. They have never been able to access that regime, that facility. So it's quite natural. On one hand, agriculture is of subsistence nature. On the other hand, farmers here have never heard of MSP. So even if the government does away with the MSP regime, it is not going to directly affect farmers in Assam because they never had it.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to EastMojo. For any queries, put them down in the comments section below and press on the bell icon for notifications.